Skype, Skype, Skype. Skype, Skype, Skype. Isn't that what that song sounds like to you? No?
Yeah. I Had a Tiger? Is that what you're going for?
Skype, 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 Skype. Skype, Skype, Skype. Skype, Skype, Skype.
I love
Please
it.
don't sue us.
I love it for two reasons. One, you just are all into this. And two, because nobody else heard the ringtone but us.
Nah.
I mean, sure, people use Skype. But then again, some people don't. So some people might just be like wondering, why do they always talk about that ring? If you don't know what the Skype ring sounds like, don't waste your time. It's fine. But whatever.
I guess go on YouTube. I'm sure it's on YouTube. If you're like, really that curious.
If you're super curious about it, get Skype. Maybe call us up.
If you're that curious about it, though, like, maybe just Google therapist instead. Like,
I gave out our Skype number on an episode a long time ago. If you're that serious, call me. It's fine.
Don't call me. If you find my number, fucking call me. I will not pick up. I will change my number.
I will go deep underground if you call me. Matt's
like, I welcome everyone. I'm like, you fucking call me. I'm going into hiding. I'm going into the mountains. I'm alright. I need an excuse. Let me go.
Just let me go. When I was doing voiceover, when I was doing my classes, sometimes I play around on the phone with telemarketers. I just entertain them for like 5 minutes just to like rehearse and practice and shit. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, oh, sir, we're here to tell you that we can help you refinance your credit debt and you can get a 1% rate. I'm like, how many credit cards do you have? I have 500 credit cards. I
just hang up. I don't. Yeah. My dad is really annoying it drives me nuts with them because he talks to them. He's so nice.
Yeah.
That he can't not be. He's like, I'm not interested. Even when he's mad, he's just nice. And I'm like, just hang up. You're wasting their time. Like, you're not going to buy their thing.
Yeah.
And their whole thing is they need to keep you on the line as long as possible because that means that they'll get closer to a sale. So you are just wasting literally everyone's time right now.
Well, there's different schools of thought about that, actually. I actually read something interesting about telemarketers the other day. Some of them do try to stay on the line as long as possible, but not just because they're thinking they can make a sale, but because they've been making calls nonstop all day, and they just really just want to hang out for a minute and just catch their breath.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So that's kind of cool. But I did have a really crazy one a few days ago where I was just doing some wacky voice with him on the phone, and like it really got under his skin after he hung up, and he kept calling me back. It was really creepy for a minute.
No, I don't like that.
No, I knew he wasn't domestic, but it was like, still, that's kind of weird. He's playing on my phone. So I blocked the number, and then he called back from a different 800 number. I was like, well, shit, okay. I might have to rethink this going forward. I don't know.
Yeah, they got that fancy shit now. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it one bit. Not a fan.
I don't like when people play on my phone. No.
Not fun.
No. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the longest running Chicago podcast at this moment tonight. Why not?
I don't think that's true, but cool.
Nobody can disprove it. This is Lex and Matt's Excellent Adventure. I'm Matt Peters.
And I'm Lex Lutz.
And we are very happy that you're joining us on this wonderful chilly Chicago evening. How's it where you are? Is it warm? Is it nice?
Let's check out the weather.
Weathercast.
Ooh, guys, guess what? 69 out.
Nice.
Nice. Very nice.
What I love about that meme is that the actual action doesn't happen nearly as much as people like to joke about. It's like, no, it's actually very
69? Yeah, just don't be fucking lazy. Stop. That's for lazy people.
Just,
take your time, bitch.
Yeah, just slow down. It's fine.
Yeah.
Listen to some Barry White. Make it happen. Okay.
All right, we're going into bad territory.
Yeah, it's about to get weird. We're going to stop right now. So, in Chicago, it's frigid and fucking cold. And
is it snowing? Right? It's snowing.
No. This is worse. It snowed, and this is the part of the snow where the ground is just frozen, and it doesn't look pretty at all. It just looks like bullshit outside.
That sucks.
Yeah, we got black ice on the ground. We got snow.
That'd be a good rap
crunchy.
name for you.
Black ice?
Yeah.
If this was the 90s, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, I would assume if you ever start up a rap career, it's just going to be straight up 90s hip hop.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
like, it's got to be Lil something right now, or ASAP.
That's like early 2000s, right?
Lil's, yeah, you're right.
See, I'm early 2000s, but I would wear like the 90s clothes.
Yeah.
So I'd be like Lil X or something like that.
Yeah, and now early 2000s was Lil, and now I think the 10s was the age of the ASAP whatever. You know.
I think it's the age of just using random letters and symbols, and just like taking random letters and symbols and using those like magnets. Like, you remember those little magnets you used to put on the fridge?
Yeah.
Where you could stuff things out? And just throw that shit at the fridge and see what sticks, and that's your name.
It's like okay. It's like what's his name? This is Mad Libs. Not to be confused with the producer Mad Lib. Lil Nas X. It's just 3 parts of different rap names streamed together.
Yeah.
You know, God bless him. He's doing good stuff, but yeah, the name though is just not very memorable.
Yeah.
And then I feel bad when I make fun of some rappers, like their name choices, because it's just like their full name shortened. And you can't have that, you know? You didn't choose that. It chose you.
Maclunkey or whatever.
Maclunkey.
Oh.
Maclunkey.
Go see our mini episode on Patreon. Patreon.com/LexandMac for more Maclunkey content. Talk about Disney Plus.
Check that out. Go to Linktree/LexandMac. Go to LexandMacPod.com. Follow us on the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, while you can, because fuck Facebook. But follow us for holistic good times and memes. We do all that shit. Very
good times.
Good times.
Oh, so we have a fun little announcement. There's a new little baby adventurer in the world.
What?
Yeah, listeners.
Wait a minute. This is news to me. Hold on. Stop the presses. Wait, what? Tell me.
Our adventurers, our friend Kicking It with Con.
Yeah.
Yeah, Connor and his wife Rachel, my cousin. They just had a little baby. They had a little sweet silly baby today. Congratulations, guys. I'm not going to say the name or gender because you have not publicly announced that. I don't know when you will. So, but there's a little healthy, little cute little baby in this world now. A little sweet chili baby.
Well, congratulations. Big congratulations to Rachel and Connor. I mean, that's great. I love that. Congratulations, you guys. And it's just far enough away from Christmas where the baby gets to celebrate the birthday and the Christmas. I always feel bad for those kids. You know?
Yeah, I do too. Because we're June babies. We're lucky.
Right. We're middle of the year. Yeah. The coffers
completely separate.
The coffers have been restored by the time our birthdays rolled around. So
my dad's birthday is December 15th.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Man. It's like that's like the time between 2 paychecks right there. For the parents, it's like, well, you can get a candy bar and you can have Christmas.
Everything was just Christmas for him. They just find it Christmas.
Man.
But yeah, always happy to see a little sweet chili baby brought to the world.
Man, that's good news. See, that's a great way to start the show. I don't think
There's great people that should have children, so it makes me very happy.
Oh man, that's a great compliment too. You know, we have never started an episode with news as good as that. So thank you, Rachel and Connor.
It was my favorite thing today.
That's so cool.
And this baby's name is amazing. I will tell you off mic. Mostly just because it's a privacy thing. That's not probably not a big deal, but it's a great name.
Spoiler: the baby's name is actually amazing, and it's just like you.
The baby's name is Maclunkey.
Maclunkey.
Oh.
Wow.
But yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's so funny because Maclunkey is the Wubba Lubba Dub Dub equivalent of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's kind of great. It's kind of great.
Awesome. God,
so, yeah. Rick and Morty's back, by the way. I'm glad about it. That episode that came on Sunday was really fucking depressing, but also really entertaining.
Isn't that just how Rick and Morty is, though? Isn't it like one of those shows that's very depressed? It's like Dan Harmon just in a bottle on a show.
It's sci-fi Dan Harmon. That's what it is, and it works. It works so well, and it's so good. It's like, that same like magic he captured with Community, just filtering it through different characters is all. But yeah, it's good shit. And then Justin Roiland. It's funny because Dan Harmon gets so much love for that show, but Justin Roiland is the creator and does the voices and everything.
I guess I need to really give that show a shot. Like, I've only seen little bits of it.
Yeah. I mean, I recommend it to anybody, but, just tune out the noise of the fan base and just watch it on its own merits.
Well, I remember the trailers and stuff. It just sounded like it was, like, burping and like I was just like, what is? I remember that. Like that is one way for me to be out. Like if it's just gross out. We've talked about this before. I'm not a fan.
Right.
So yeah.
I mean Rick does belch a lot because he's often drunk. And there's reasoning behind that and everything that they lay out for you during the show. Once you get used to it, you don't even really think about it too much. It's just kind of there. It's just one of his like things. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to give it a shot.
I'd say it's worth sticking with. Just don't talk to anybody about it that you wouldn't trust to discuss shows with. Usually, it's just it's not for open forums. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because fuck people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
The moral of the story, fuck people. Man, that's a complete 180 from where I was like less than 2 minutes ago. We got to move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Your class.
That. So
I assumed you want to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. I've finished my beginner's voiceover class that you so thankfully encouraged me to get into. Thank you once again for that, little nudge in the right direction there. I really enjoyed this, and
Good.
I can't recommend Acting Studio Chicago enough. They have a great team there. My instructor, Norm Boucher, he's done a lot of acting, different bit parts and stuff like that, and all the Chicago shows on NBC, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, all that stuff. He's done a lot of voice acting, a lot of ads. So he's got real knowledge of the industry. And he gave us not only some great tips on how to improve our craft, but also just how to navigate, within the industry, like, managers and finding an agent and working within the union and things like that. So,
that's really valuable. Not everyone teaches that. They go over like the craft part, but they don't teach that stuff is hard to navigate.
Exactly. And I'm not gonna, just spell it out because it'd be a little self-congratulatory and everything. But he did say some very kind things to me during our one-on-one at the end of the class. He took everybody aside and just kind of gave them just, some pointers and things like that in order to continue on, or, just kind of tell them, hey, you may want to pursue another aspect of the industry or something like that. Nothing cruel, obviously, but he said a couple things to me that really stuck with me, and I'm encouraged to continue. So
good.
I'm going to keep working. Now that I have these tools, I'm going to work on doing a demo reel, and I'm also more than likely going to try to get in another class next year, the intermediate level. So, I just want to keep at this. And of course, practice makes perfect. There's no such thing as perfect, but practice makes you better.
It's just like anything else. Like you have to do that to get better at it.
Yeah. It's
like
a
the
muscle.
first few episodes of this podcast were awful, I'm sure. I'm not going to do it. Anything. Like it's that way with anything.
Right.
It just gets better the more you do it.
Right. So I want to keep getting better at this. I don't want to just be like, oh, you've just got this natural talent, that type of shit. I want to earn my place. I want to be good at this, not only by nature, but by skill as well. Yeah. So, keep rooting for me, guys. I appreciate it. A lot of folks said a lot of like kind things to me during this whole, ordeal, not ordeal, but this journey. God, I sound like I'm giving an award ceremony speech. I'm done. That's it. Goodbye.
It was fine until the very end.
Yeah.
And then you could just feel the wheels start to hydroplane.
Right.
And it was like, oh, this is going. We're going.
I could hear the music playing, playing me off.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Dee as well, who is feet away from me right now, but has on her headphones as she plays Pixel Junk.
She's just doing her house music stuff again.
Yeah. I mean, technically, yeah. Pixel Junk Eden is a great fucking game that came out on PS3. You can play it on PS Now at this time. I was going to say PS Now, but it would have sounded like I was stuttering. But yeah, it's got house music in it. So yeah, if you've played the game, you know exactly why Dee loves the game. And it's nonstop action. It's great. But back to the point, I got to thank her because this is an 8-week class. It ate up a big chunk of my Saturdays every single week. And
yeah, you need to take a break.
Me. Yeah. And I'm so glad that she's in my life because she really, helped me to get there every week without fail. So
yeah, that's the most important part of it is your partner cool with this? Is it supported? If it's not, why is it not? All of those things. In that situation, it was yes, it is a supported thing. But now, spend those Saturdays with Dee.
Yeah, a little give and take,
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, Dee's always been supportive.
He's like, I want to take a class of my own. Okay, I want to take a class together. Okay.
Yeah.
Class. It's, look, open mind here. It's erotic pottery. Now, Dee, I don't know about this. Listen, I gave you 8 weeks in that other class. Do this with me. Come on. It's called ghosting it. Let's do it.
This totally sounds like a Bob's Burgers idea. This is something Linda would suggest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Hey guys, while Matt does his voiceover reel, this is my audition to try to become a writer on Bob's Burgers.
I love it.
God, I would love to write for that show.
Man.
Anyway.
Yeah. So we, there's a lot of shit that, she puts up with, besides this every Tuesday.
She actually, likes this show, though. She listens to this show.
Yeah,
so at least she gets something out of it.
Probably not so much when we talk about her while she's listening, but yeah, yeah, no, she digs it. And, in an honest way, not just, oh yeah, your little podcast. No, she's always very supportive of that. But yeah, we do this. I do the new Unicursity podcast that I've been in, that horror comedy podcast thing with my buddy Aaron, which you can check out on iTunes if you like. It's really fun. It's like a role-playing game podcast. I dig it. And, of course, the classes. So, yeah, there's all kind of shit. I'm not as busy as, a cast today, but, I still try to, stay busy.
What are you running from, Matt?
And then there's Chicago Nerd Social Club, of course, and then Shy Nerd Fest is coming around again. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, you gotta start taking care of yourself, bud.
Yeah. But, you said, a little breaky break in between class there. It'll
big
be good.
Breaky break.
Be good for me. Holiday breaky break.
Rest of the year breaky break.
There you go. Now all I
no
gotta
choice.
Now all I gotta do is worry about the, the anxiety of the holidays, and then we can keep on rolling.
Fucking anxiety over holidays. I've learned that's useless. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'm ready to try something new this year. Usually I'm all worried about, I gotta get everybody a gift, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, and stuff like that. I'm ready to just, enjoy my time with people.
Yeah, I'm past that. And I've pretty much talked to people where I'm like, I'm not buying anyone shit. And I don't expect anyone to buy me anything. Let's just chill.
Right.
Let's have this time of year to just not decorate cool things, eat food it's bad for us. Watch some movies. What?
This year, give the gift of, let's just not.
Let's just not. Yeah. Can we not? Can we not, please?
I love it. That's just the perfect gift.
Yeah.
And it fits. It's always the right size. Mm-hmm. Man. I mean, a hoodie's nice too, but besides that, That's good. That's
yeah,
good
I mean, I'm not going to turn down a hoodie, but
yeah.
I'd prefer it if we just didn't.
Oh, shit. I got to thank you for something else. Speaking of gifts and shit,
Huh?
You know what? That was super aggressive. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like I did something wrong.
You did do something wrong.
Yeah.
You fucked up the cold game here in Chicago because, yeah, like all the stuff that you've been knitting for us over these past couple of years have all come in handy in the past couple of days. D got this amazing scarf from Lex, y'all. It is just beautiful. I have, of course, the hat that everybody saw at our live show. My new coffee cup, wraparound that I got for contributing to Rain through your project.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the scarf, of course. Like everything's coming together to make sure that I don't get sick. So thank you.
I try.
Yeah.
I try. Keeps the demons at bay, y'all.
Yes, the demons of cold.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I owed Dee a hat. I felt bad. When I came in for the live show, I brought you a hat, and I had a hat. Dee didn't have a hat, so I had to make her a hat.
Yeah, but Dee got to show off her hair, so that's okay.
No, I'm not saying Dee was lacking anything.
No.
Like, that's not what I mean. I just mean a hat was owed and a debt has been paid.
Well, it's much appreciated across the board. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the Patreon. You did something pretty unique on the Patreon this week. I was impressed.
Oh yeah, that was I put a short story on the Patreon, which is free for everyone.
Yeah.
Last post we just made. Actually, probably won't be by the time this goes up. Anyway, there's only one short story on there. I just wrote it real quick. Wanted to throw something out there, take a break from the book that I'm writing because it's driving me nuts. And for me, I take breaks with other things. And I wanted to neglect, all the papers and shit that I have to write. So that's what I did. It's out there. You can read it if you want. And if you don't want to, that's okay too.
That's really cool. I mean, I wish I could be that creative to be able to just sit down and write something like that. Like, as an exercise, as fun, just sit down and write. I wish I could do that sort of thing. It's pretty cool. It's
the only thing that, keeps me from going insane.
And it was a good story. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just oh God. It's hard to explain because sometimes I don't want to sit down and write stuff. But I still, when I'm doing it and then when I'm done, it's oh, okay, that's the best feeling in the world. I once heard, I think it was Judd Apatow on a podcast, and he was talking about writing. And, regardless of whether you like Judd Apatow's writing or not, whatever, it's all subjective. But he was talking about how he doesn't, he's not religious, but that's, the closest he's ever come to anything divine is that moment when you're creating that thing. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel.
Okay.
Not necessarily that I'm not religious, but I'm this is the thing. This is the thing I chase. This moment, this feeling. This is the high.
So. That's cool. I mean, it is a good feeling when you can actually sit down and coherently put that type of thing together. I love that.
Yeah, it wasn't coherent at first either. It's not. I hand wrote in a notebook, and it was jumbled, and then I typed it and made it a little less jumbled, and then I printed it out, and I went through and marked it up, made it a little less jumbled, repeat, rinse and repeat. That's how it works. So.
Do you always write first, handwrite it out, and then
No, I don't. If it's a bigger project, I plan it handwriting. I make a outline or a rough sketch of okay, I know where I'm going to go for the next 5 scenes, something like that. I will sometimes handwrite short pieces, just because it triggers different parts of your brain. It's just a little bit different, and I know it's not going to be a long piece, so I can do that without having to worry about, I'm too far into it. So no, not with the large, unless there's a scene that I'm out and I need to write down as much of it as I can, scribble it down kind of thing. But no, with big projects, no. With smaller projects, sometimes depends.
Yeah, I think one of the pitfalls that a lot of new writers get into, a lot of writers who are comic fans, they'll start writing a story and they will begin to consider the bigger picture, which is like, oh, you know, I can make this whole interconnecting universe of stories and characters and everything like that. And before you know it, you have pages and pages of outline and you don't actually have any story content to speak of.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely a lot of people. I usually don't write, like science fiction or fantasy, other world stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the things that I write, like the story is just this world.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really get into that. I'm more into like the emotional side of things, the story, like the everyday thing, whatever. I don't know, whatever. Like, I'm not necessarily interested in not even interested. Like that implies that I know how to do it. I find world building to be very intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I go, well, I don't really want to play in someone else's world. Like, that just doesn't always click with me unless I was, like I said, like writing for Bob's Burgers or something like that, you know, like writing for a television show or whatever. That would be cool. But like fan fiction and stuff like that, not really my thing. So I usually just write stuff takes place, you know, here and now, or maybe past a little bit in the future, or whatever. But not like, you know, I can understand that, like that, you know, that world building you're talking about, like, and you get lost in building the world, and then it's like, well, parts of the world are broken. I can't start the story until I fix this part of the world that's broken.
Right. It fascinates me how many writers' careers begin with writing fan fiction and that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, of course, famously Twilight. It's
fine. Like, yeah,
and it's fine.
I didn't write. I wrote things that were basically just copies of other things in the beginning.
Sure.
Like, everyone, that's how you learn. You read, write, and you read and you write. Like, that's just how it works. So, you know, I'm not saying that's not a thing. It just was, you know, I think I wrote a Superman story once or something. Like, you know, I wanted to write comic. If I could write any comic, I would write Superman.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, so I played around with things like that. A little bit when I first got into comics, because I got into comics around like 16. And so that was when I was really getting into writing heavily. I would, you know, summer was, how much can I produce in a summer? Like, how many things can I create in a summer? How much can I get done at Thanksgiving break? How much, you know, like that's how my brain has always worked.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I did and I've always been one, I want to learn how to do the thing. So I learned screenplays, and then I wanted to learn how to write, and I learned short stories before that, and I wanted to learn how to write comic books. And then, you know, I wanted to learn how to write a novel. I've written a novel before, but like, it wasn't good enough to, there's many reasons behind that, but like, now I'm writing like my second novel that I actually want to publish and do something with. That's like, I can do something with it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's like, you should do it, but, you know, some things aren't meant to be published, at least not now. But you do it so that you can learn how to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's completely up to you whether or not you want to or not, which is one of the great things about writing, too. I mean, it's all very...
Some things are timing, too.
Yeah.
Some things, like, in 10 years, that thing that I had might be okay, but it's not now. So, you know, you just have to know, okay, what are things like right now? You know? Gauge stuff.
Yeah. It's almost like comedy where you have to know your audience. You kind of have to read the market and just kind of figure out if it's time to put your project out there or not.
Yeah, and
you know?
And like, you can always write another joke. That's the thing.
True.
That's the brilliance of it. If that joke, I mean, yeah, it's bigger. Like, it's, you know, it's a book that I wrote, but like, at the same time, I can write another fucking book. Like,
right.
You know, it's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Imagine that.
If that's the only thing you can create, maybe you're not actually an artist.
Right.
Like, maybe you have to ask yourself those questions of like, is this the best I can do? If the answer is yes, that's kind of sad. The answer should be no. You should always try to be doing better.
Well, we can even bring it a little closer to home. There are oftentimes, I don't want to say often because, I'm not a monster, but there are oftentimes that, we're doing the show and there may be something that crosses my mind where it's like, yeah, I would totally say that to you in a one-on-one conversation. But
I would too.
Yeah. Like, as for our audience who don't, who could misconstrue, and I love our listeners and everything like that, but, out of context things, and you gotta take in consideration, like, everyone doesn't feel the same way you do. Everybody doesn't have the same sense of humor. Like, we are playing to a certain type of audience, the audience that we've built from the start to right now. So, obviously, there are certain things that will work. There are certain things that won't. It doesn't even have to be anything like scandalous or controversial. It could just be like, no, that joke sucks. I'm not going to say that, that sort of thing. Yeah. And you just don't. You just move on. It might ruin the flow. There might be something I want to interject that's really funny while you're telling a heartfelt story, but understanding that, all right, this is what. Well,
first of all, always do that. I am always a fan of that.
I mean, yeah. Every once in a while, but then it becomes a shtick, and it's like, yeah, okay. There's
oh my god, you're just describing like my personality though. Like that's my entire family's that way too. Like my grandmother was in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like we thought she was gonna die. She's going into her surgery. She's saying goodbye to all of us. Like, and it's like tearful and like it was like, okay, this is it. This is like goodbye kind of thing, and. I just stopped and looked at her and I'm like, so like, you're just faking it, right? Like you're just done. Like, and then everyone laughs and you just kind of, whatever. Yeah. Like but that's it. Like, that's the best. Like those are some of the best moments in the worst moments. So you just, find the laugh when you can.
Yeah.
But read the room for the love of God.
There you go. That's exactly what I'm saying. Read the fucking room.
My family is totally that way.
Yeah.
I have a hard time when I get around people that aren't that way.
Yeah. Like same here. I like to pride myself in thinking that I can speak to anybody about anything. I try to.
I know I can't.
Yeah, I try to build that skill up because it's so. Like, I fucking hate being in awkward situations, man. Especially when it's just like, all right, they're a human being. You are too. There's got to be something that you can talk about or that they have, or, in their wheelhouse that you can, just meet halfway on or something like that. And if I can't find that, I get frustrated with myself. It's never just like, oh, this person sucks. It's like, oh man, I'm so bad at this. I can't have a conversation. Why are we sitting here? It's quiet. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But, yeah, I don't know. I'd rather be the type of person that can just talk to anybody about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. But like you have to also embrace it. Sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Sometimes, that's a whole different side of the spectrum though. When you're able to sit around somebody and it's just complete silence and everything's okay.
Yeah. That's what headphones are for, bud.
Yeah. I'm talking about having a relationship with somebody, a friendship or whatever.
Oh, is that why I'm terrible at maintaining all relationships?
There's certain people where it's just like, bam, you're just firing a mile a minute, just like nonstop slapstick, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
And then there's some people where you can just like vibe out and just chill and just listen to music or just be like going to the same place and not having to say much of anything.
Yeah.
And it feels okay. It doesn't feel awkward. It's just like, got nothing to say right now. We're gonna talk more when we get there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I like that. But it takes a lot of time to get to that place,
Yeah. Oh, you like not having to entertain people 24/7? Is that a thing that you enjoy as a human being?
I mean, not me, but you know me.
Super
I can't turn
weird,
this shit
bud.
off. Yeah. Real weird.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is only fair. This is on the mini episode a little bit, but since I told people to tune into the show to get the answer to the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question of how many episodes of Darkwing Duck did Matt watch today? You guessed what, 8?
Yeah, something like that.
I had some other guesses. I had Emma Lyons guessed 6. John Craig said all of them. That was a good guess.
Shut up, John Craig.
Pauline said 8. Gabby said 15. And other people were just expressing their love of the cartoon. The correct answer was 4. I watched 4 episodes of Darkwing because there's way too much content on Disney Plus, and I can't wait to dig back in after I finish editing this episode.
I was gonna say we're just like going through the motions here, trying to get through this so that we can go back to Disney Plus.
That's right. We're gonna wrap this up right now. Thank you for listening, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm digging it so far. I really like it. I think it's got bang for the buck.
It's a little bit Maclunkey.
It's a little Maclunkey. So, that Mandalorian though, I don't know why I'm saying
you watched it?
I haven't. I want to.
Because everyone's freaking out, and I'm like, oh, I haven't even seen it.
I'm thinking I should watch it sooner than later because people are going to get real itchy with those spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit on it very long. I'm gonna probably tomorrow. What do I have to do? There's something I have to do tomorrow, so probably not.
Well, I have
so much shit to do.
I have to go to Bible study. And no, I don't.
Yeah. Gotta pray that gay away.
Gotta pray it away, man. It's like always breathing down my neck. Watch out.
Do that or do what I prefer, which is gay the pray away.
That one does sound more fun.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. You said what?
I said I prefer it, but
yeah. So yeah, I'm not a church going individual anymore, and I think that's kind of why I got into such wacky shenanigans this past Sunday. This sounds like a terrible setup, and it seems like, I'm going to talk about some shit that happened to me.
What's the deal with Sundays?
What is the deal with Sunday morning? I mean, you don't really need to go to brunch, but you do.
You get up and you go. You don't. Oh God.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to write a Seinfeld-esque joke, and we're just striking out, which makes it even funnier. So Sunday morning,
it's not that easy to write a Seinfeld joke. I'm sorry. You don't
think so?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. Give me a premise. Give me a premise.
I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Because it's not that easy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm gonna make a Seinfeld joke happen before the end of this episode. Mark my words. Okay. So Sunday morning was the wildest Sunday morning I have experienced in quite some time, if not ever. I think Saturday night was leaking because of the shit that I saw. Just fucking blew my mind. I don't want to overhype it. Let's just dig in. So, Dee and I were going to take BMO to get groomed. We had an early morning appointment. We found better results. We can relax a little bit more if we get him groomed super early in the morning and then just bring him home because he's real sleepy after he gets groomed. It's like, it's a battle. It's a fight, but he doesn't fight. He's chill.
Yeah. Cause it's so stressful.
It's really stressful for him. So he likes to just sleep for the rest of the day. And that's fine. We were kind of worried about that thing at first, but he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. My cats take him to the vet. They're going to freak out.
Right. Right.
And then it's stress sleep.
I would be freaked out too if somebody was just shaving my body and cutting my nails all day, or at least for an hour or two.
I mean, when I have a super anxiety filled day, I end up falling asleep.
Yeah. It's just like a natural.
Yeah. Your body's like, okay, we're gonna have to power down for a bit. Hard restart, bud. Okay, all right.
So, okay. The first weird thing that happened to me on Sunday morning, and I'm starting, least the greatest here. So, our conversation last week about caramel versus caramel.
Yes.
So I've basically started trying both ways out in public, but some barista at Starbucks decided to try me. I say caramel, and he goes, "Oh, you mean caramel?" Like, what the fuck, man? No, I said caramel. All right, that's what I said. You don't correct me. I'm the customer. I am always right. Okay,
that's true, but counter argument. He wants to make sure he doesn't get your drink wrong.
I mean, that's fine and all,
that's
but
Starbucks way.
He doesn't have
even
a
though
bottle.
They always get my fucking drink wrong. Guys, what the? Okay, real quick. I'm just sorry. Yeah. Starbucks.
Yep.
One of their featured menu items is the green tea latte, and they fuck that shit up every single time. You know how many times I've gotten iced coffee or hot coffee, and they put green tea on top of it?
That's fucked up. Who would want that?
No one.
No. Okay, so this dude apparently has a bottle that says caramel and one that says caramel in front of him.
Yes,
and he
exactly.
wants to make sure because the caramel's all out. He has to say
that
caramel.
Meme of the guy sweating and he doesn't know what button to press.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of too.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So yeah, dude, I don't know. It was just a real weird flex, and he wasn't even the dude that came to the window. He was too cool for school, so he put some other chick out there and just like, hey, give them their drinks or whatever. So anyway,
you fucked up that caramel thing.
That happened. So
Lisa, can you take care of it, please? I really messed up this caramel bit. The customer's always right, but I was like, man, he's pronouncing it caramel, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, he heard the blackness in my voice when I placed the order, and decided he overstepped the line and was like, I don't want to see this man. I don't want to have to face him. Oh my god. Anywho, so that happened.
Because his name's Dave.
Dave Thomas, creator of Wendy's, founder of Wendy's. Okay.
Yes.
Anywho, so
just
next
his
stop.
Bones running a Starbucks. Spooky season.
It is, and ironically, that's the next thing that happened to me. I decided to. Dee and I decided to split up and tackle some things together, or separately together. And she went to grab some detergent. And as I was sitting in the parking lot waiting for her, I looked in the car across from me, and what's sitting there but a skeleton man wearing a skull cap.
Yeah, I don't like when people do this shit. Stop doing it.
Nope.
Stop.
Nope.
Seriously. It's fucking creepy.
It's far enough from spooky season where it's just creepy again. It's not like, oh, you got me. It's like, what the fuck, man? Just a random ass skeleton sitting in a car. Yep. So, yeah, that was fun times. And then the weirdest shit happened. Dee gets back in the car. She tells me that, they've beefed up security at the grocery store. I'm like, that is a weird thing to happen on a Sunday morning between 9 and 10:30 a.m. She goes, yeah, I thought so too. So I asked the security guard, I'm like, why is there so much security here? And the security guard says, oh, well, these Jewish women keep coming in here and fighting over gefilte fish.
Yeah.
Which, if he made up, was kind of cool just to have that, at the ready, just holstered and ready to go. If he didn't make it up, women, why are you fighting over gefilte fish? What? It's gefilte fish.
I mean, they like that gefilte fish?
I guess, man. I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
So then we decided to go over to Lowe's. We went to Lowe's, had to get some light bulbs. The light bulbs were actually in the section near the lamps, which is odd because they usually are far away on the other side of the store, which was kind of cool. It was kind of cool.
What is wrong with your okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, that's a whole different, okay. So, as we pull up to the Lowe's, there is a young man who is getting arrested by police. You see that sometimes. Now, normally, in the neighborhood we were in, we don't see that sort of thing happen, let alone on a Sunday morning, early on a Sunday morning.
Okay.
The car that was pulled over was a yellow Volkswagen Beetle, one of the newer versions. And the man got out wearing a Goku track jacket.
Okay.
And he had a Shock Pikachu meme in the back window. I don't know what nationality this young man was, but he took it upon himself to start arguing with these police officers, of which there were two at the time, right?
He's,
Yeah. I mean,
he doesn't know how things work here, I guess, which is don't do that because it's scary.
Yeah, he seemed a little too brown to me to be doing that, and I hate to think that way, but man,
I mean,
you
honestly,
gotta survive in
it's
these
not
streets.
smart for anyone to do that, but yeah, in particular, don't do that if you're brown.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
No.
I feel like we should be saying that. I was like, it's bad.
It's true though.
Sorry, white people suck.
Yeah, no, like, okay, so we saw that. We go into Lowe's, we do our little shoppy shop, and, I asked one of the ladies behind the counter, I'm like, hey, did you guys have somebody come in and steal something or something like that? Like, no, you planning to? No, I just saw something go on in the parking lot, and I was curious, because, it's kind of odd that this dude is getting arrested in the parking lot. Right. Also, and I neglected to mention this in any of the other places I posted this, the plates on the Goku mobile were law enforcement plates. So this kid must have a parent that's in law enforcement.
How old do you think he was again?
I want to say like 16, 17. Like he looked about that age.
Okay.
So yeah, okay, so we come back out and all of a sudden there are no less than 6 squad cars in this parking lot. It's mostly empty except for his car, my car, and these squad cars now. So I take out my phone and I start filming because I'm like, oh shit, something's about to go down. And I don't want to like get accused of anything, If something happens to this young man, I want to make sure that, somebody has a record of it or something. His hands are on top of the vehicle. There are 6 squad cars around now. There's at least like 8 cops just hanging out. I didn't stick around long enough to find out what was happening, but I really wanted to ask. This is one of those few times where it's like, I need to know what's going on. My curiosity was overpowered by my will to survive, so I left. Surprise Pikachu sticker and all. I mean, if anybody knows what the fuck happened.
The will to survive is just too strong.
Yeah. And then, of course, you got your little rubberneckers going on there, too. So people are, like, walking around the parking lot right behind my car, not looking, even though I have on my, like, reverse lights on or whatever. They're not paying attention. So I'm like, yeah, I should probably just leave now because somebody's going to do something stupid and just walk into my car or something like that.
Yeah. There was an incident that I don't want to talk about, but like an incident happened in my class last week that I bailed. Like I just left.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And it's the same thing where you're like, I sense danger. I need to leave. Like I can't. Anyway.
Man, yeah. So, okay, I'll wrap up the rest of it because, I'm taking too much time on this. So, everything else that we saw on the way home, we saw more cops. We saw cops from different, like, townships, different squad cars crossing into different jurisdictions the entire time that we drove home. We saw a man at a bus stop doing the robot for some reason. A homeless man decided to approach my car and started just speaking nonsensical. I think he was trying to give me a side quest or something like that. I don't know. I didn't stick around long enough to find out. And
go retrieve the bread.
Yeah. Get me 2 jars of gefilte fish.
Oh my god.
That's why those women were fighting. They were on the side quest. They wanted to get that sweet loot. Fuck, man. Yeah, it was a while. And this happened in between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10:30. I don't know what the hell was going on.
Oh my god, I didn't realize how short the period of time was. I knew that it all happened in the morning, but that's very short. Like, a morning could be 8 a.m. to, just rolling up on 12. Not saying that's much better for so many weird things, but like, God.
Yeah.
An hour and a half.
Like, straight up, it had more action than most movies out today. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I still have no idea. I'm glad I survived. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm glad, too. And
that's my Sunday.
And Baby Beans.
And Baby Beans, yeah, he did.
Baby Beans.
Yeah. The last weird thing that happened, like, on that morning was when BMO was done grooming, they usually call us. The guy called us, had a conversation with D, because she was surprised he was done so fast. She's like, oh my goodness, that's interesting. And she's talking to the guy. This is the guy that normally grooms our dog. And he hangs up. D hangs up, and then he calls right back. And he's like, hey, just want to let you know your dog is ready to be picked up. And she's like, okay, we're on our way. He forgot completely the entire conversation. The fact that he called, just whiffed completely.
That is alarming. That is very alarming.
Yeah, and I'm like, this man had like sharp objects near my dog. Now I really got to go hurry and pick him up because I'm concerned.
Yeah, I know you're busy, but that's like really, really bad.
I mean, I could see if you call and it's just like, hey, your dog's ready to be picked up.
Yeah.
He had a lot on his mind. He apologized when I got there. I was like, yeah, dude, we were worried about you because
I was gonna say, yeah, more than anything, you're just worried about him. Like you want this dude to be okay. Because like, do we need to like give you a stroke test or something? Like, what do we do here? What's happening?
Take a break, man. Yeah.
You need water, I think. Have you had water today? Like.
Yep. So, I don't know. There was something in the air over the weekend, and thankfully we all survived. So that was my Sunday. Oh, man, I'm so glad that it's Tuesday now.
Yeah.
What's going on in your world over there?
Me too, I guess. Oh, nothing. They're finally getting floors installed in the house.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Stand on something. That's good.
The craziness of my like whole front of the house that I talked about way earlier in the podcast, like the beginning of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Finally.
Way back.
The way back. So yeah, like all of the carpet had been ripped out and it was just concrete floors and stuff, like down to the base of it. So now legit tiles are being put down. It's nice.
Man.
Yeah.
Did they finally finish remodeling your bathroom?
No, that's a part of this. What do you mean?
Sorry, I'm just letting that sink in.
Okay, whatever it is, it's not sinking. What's happening?
I said, did they finish remodeling your bathroom yet?
No. It's whatever joke you're making is not clicking. So you're going to have to explain it.
All right, let's move on. That was not the Seinfeld joke, by the way. That was just a bad dad joke. So, yes.
Okay. Well, I didn't get it. So
hopefully somebody did.
Sure.
Okay.
You're doing one of the things that I fucking hate, which is someone's like, "No, get the joke. Get the joke. No, that's the joke. Get the joke. Get it.
See,
Go get the joke." And I'm like, I don't fucking get it. I don't fucking get it. Stop.
On the other side of the spectrum, I hate when people explain jokes because they're just immediately not funny after that. Even less so.
I mean, yeah, I'm not asking you to explain the joke. I'm like, just stop.
I'm done. We're done. That's it.
But yeah, no, so it's chaotic in here because you have to remove all furniture and like break everything down because, you got to take care of the floors. So chaos. Yeah. Should be done this week though. So.
Well, that's good. I'm glad because not having your house in order is always just something to just throw you off your base a little bit.
Yeah, and it's been off for almost a year.
What a fucking year, man.
What a year.
What a year.
11, it's Wednesday. Okay.
Man.
Yeah. Okay. So, weird story in the news. Wouldn't say it's wall of weird.
Okay. I'll read it.
I don't think this, I don't know. You guys can decide. So they're they're going to make a movie with James Dean.
Huh. Okay.
And it's CGI James Dean.
Huh.
They're using real footage and photos to put him in a movie. So James Dean was only ever in 3 movies. He died when he was like 24, something like that. Yeah, 24.
He died super young.
Yeah, very young when he died. And so they're like, gonna make this freaking Vietnam War movie and put James Dean in it. And another actor is gonna be voicing it, and they're gonna be using him. And so like this kind of, took off or whatever. Like the story went viral. I saw Chris Evans was like, this is really wrong. Like he was one of the first people I saw that was like, no, this is messed up and this should not be allowed to happen. And I completely agree. This is messed up. They should not be allowed to do this. Even with like blessings from family members or whatever, which I think they're claiming they have, it's wrong. They should not be doing this.
Let's talk about why. I'm curious why you think that James Dean in particular, and mind you, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just curious about your viewpoint on this. Like, why is it bad to
I don't
use
think
him?
it should be done with anyone. I don't I don't believe in remember when they did the Tupac? I think that's all wrong.
Okay.
Because it's not the artist actually doing that. Like, you are, like, they make things in their life, however short or long it may be. That's the thing they contributed to the world, and when they're gone, they're gone.
Man. So, that makes me wonder how you feel about Forrest Gump.
Okay, hold on 1 second. So, that doesn't count with something like Carrie Fisher in the new Star Wars movie, because she's already filmed that. Like,
specifically for the movie, yeah.
Yeah. So, Forrest Gump. You're talking about like the manipulation that they did in that movie and stuff?
Yeah, I'm talking about like how they use like Richard Nixon and John Lennon.
Yeah. Yeah, and they manipulated those. I like that movie. I don't know, because it is a small like bit. It's not. I mean, I could see the argument being made for it, like where they shouldn't do that either. I'm sure that some people had a problem with it, but they didn't. I wouldn't be surprised if family members didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, and I'm sure. Well, they probably had to get permission from the estate, for these parties to use their likenesses in film. But what if they had used James Dean in Forrest Gump? What if he ran into him in his travels? What if, like, when he was running, James Dean was on the side of the road smoking a square or something like that?
Right. So one thing that that's a little bit different as far as Forrest Gump versus this is that they were using archived footage and they were messing with the words that they were saying, typically, like in Forrest Gump. So in this one, they're going to use like a stunt double, and they're going to use all of the images that they have of James Dean, and they're going to completely CGI this. They're making a role that James Dean never agreed to take on.
Oh, okay.
So
it's not just like James Dean is James Dean, it's James Dean as this character.
Yes. No, they are...
or the ghost of James Dean, basically.
Okay, it's like Avatar.
Yeah.
Like all of the CG suits and shit that they did for Avatar.
Yeah.
They're doing that, but with a real person that's dead.
Yeah, so...
And then someone else is going to voice this. I guess presumably doing a James Dean impression.
I think that it's bad for similar but different reasons.
Which, by the way, Crispin Glover
Yeah.
sued the Back to the Future franchise over this, and he won. Like, this was a thing years ago.
Oh, yeah, totally. Repurposing his likeness and that type of shit. But I agree with you about all of that. But what the biggest infraction to me is here is that it's a movie that can't succeed on its own accord. You know? Like, they had to go back and do some stunt casting to bring James Dean, who, as you mentioned, has only been in 3 movies. And honestly, I don't get what the obsession is about this boy in the first place. I mean, sure, he was smoldering. Sure, he had a little bit of swagger about him. But, you know, I just don't get, like, why him after all this time? Why do people obsess over James Dean?
So there's layers to that. He was ahead of his time.
Sure.
As far as method acting is concerned, he was one of those first young actors to really, like, him and like Marlon Brando was another one who was like up there in that like top tier guys. And it's also the possibility of what could have been. So anyone that dies young like that, like Kurt Cobain or
Tupac or
yeah. they're immortalized
Yeah.
because like this genius lost before they could create all of these things. Even like John Lennon, you know, he was murdered when he was what, like 30s? And now I gotta look this up.
Was he 33?
Late 30s.
But
I want to
yeah,
say he was
guys like
close
that.
to 40. Yeah.
Princess Diana, of course.
He was exactly 40. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
He was 40.
Yeah.
So yeah. All of these, it's the like, we do have that obsession with like they died young and everything. But James Dean is also like an actor that other actors study, kind of thing. Like he was that good. And he was that good so young. That was another thing. He's also got a lot of mystery to him. Like you said, he's got the smoldering good looks and everything like that. So, yeah, I just think this is setting a bad precedent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't win a role. In particular,
they need to fight against this because, like, there's a reason why you have to choose a specific, like, so, okay. The example that I always use with this is Emma Stone's real name is not Emma Stone. Emma Stone's real name is Emily. She can't use the name Emily Stone because there's another Screen Actors Guild actor named Emily Stone who's been dead for like 40 years. It doesn't matter because they don't want actors taking the name of other actors. So if someone comes in and says, my SAG name is going to be Tom Cruise, and then agents hear Tom Cruise wants a meeting to be in this movie, they can manipulate. They can use that name to their advantage.
Tom Cruise wants a meeting from beyond.
Yeah, no, you have your name, and that's your name, like professionally, as far as the Screen Actors Guild is concerned. So actors, they have their, like, that is their commodity, their face, their craft, their voice, their, you know, all of these things. Like, so this is just stealing everything that they are. And what's to stop them from doing this next with Robert Downey Jr.? Right. I mean, you could sue them, get caught up in court and everything like that, but it's going to cost Robert Downey Jr. a fortune to do that. And what if for some reason they rule against Robert Downey Jr.? Like, it's just a whole thing. And, you know, it's setting a bad precedent. It's a really, really bad idea.
I just feel bad for all the kids out there who are starting their acting careers and can't score a role over a man that's been dead for several decades now.
It's nothing, too. There's so many great actors out there.
Yeah.
Known and unknown. What are you doing?
There's so many actors that deserve a chance. All they have to do is audition. All they have to do is try to find somebody. I mean, sure, this is getting a voice actor work, and I should be happy about that. Somebody's working in my profession. That's great. But at the same time, I mean, the on-screen presence, the possibility to make a role their own. I mean, this is just like, it's sad, you know?
We also don't need another Vietnam War movie. What are you bringing to the table?
Exactly.
What are you bringing that's new?
Right.
To that, like other than like, okay, we've unearthed this new story, or we're adapting this classic book, or I don't know what this is.
It's gonna cut to the helicopter flying over the terrain. It's gonna be Jimi Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower, his version of it. And we're going to see some dudes playing volleyball and like smoking and doing knife tricks and shit like that. And then it's going to be zooming in on James Dean and what he's up to.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to make a Vietnam story, you got to be careful with it. Particularly because like the soldiers involved in that war were really messed up and really treated like garbage, because people opposed the war and they took it out on the soldiers, which is messed up because they didn't choose that. Like, a lot of them were drafted, or even if they did like sign up, they didn't choose to do what they did. Like, they were following order. They were doing their job. So, you know, I don't know. I'm just tired of that kind of shit. Like when they mishandle Vietnam War type things. That's why I liked Tropic Thunder a lot, because I was like, yeah, thank you for mocking these dumbass movies that, you know, we understand more, we understand this and that. It's like, you probably don't, because you're a little softy creator like me, aren't you, bud? Aren't you, pal?
Honestly, I don't think anybody's going to go see that just for James Dean. I don't think
it's going to get made. Actually, I think that the backlash that they're going to get from this is going to be so bad that their investors are going to end up pulling the plug.
It depends on who's backing it. If the investors are some like eccentric, like millionaire, billionaire person who really wants to see it get made, then it'll be on like Netflix in a couple of weeks.
That's true. Or this could be the thing that makes it a reality, because people are so intrigued now that they have to see it. Ugh.
Well, it didn't work with the hologram. It didn't work with the Tupac hologram. Like, that was a thing for a few months, and people were like, people got mad. People got mad, and people just got disinterested too. Like, everybody was talking about it. Every late night host had a joke about the Tupac hologram.
Like, it was cool but creepy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, seeing this would be interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
just like seeing deep fake videos can be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
But they disturb me. Like, I don't like that they exist. That doesn't mean that I want it to exist. It's interesting, so weird. But I don't want to see it.
It's so weird that people can vilify deep fake videos and then be like, "Oh yeah, bring James Dean back."
That's what so that's like, you know, basically the same thing, where it's like, you're manipulating this, and this can be used for really bad things. You know, and then it can go into, that's a whole separate thing, but like, I mean, the deep fake argument is always there now, of like, what horrible, horrific things can you do with this, and how are people going to prove that it was a fake? And, you know, the ramifications for that could be huge.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The whole James Dean aspect of it really just sours me, you know, because I get that he's got like a legacy and shit like that, but I mean, this dude they hype him up so much. It's crazy. It really is. He just looks like fucking Fry from Futurama.
Have you actually watched his movies, though?
I haven't.
Want to legit. Okay, well then.
I have not.
Okay.
You're calling me out, and I'm putting myself on Front Street. It's true. I have not watched his films.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
HBO Max, or whatever the hell they're calling their streaming service, is attempting to pull the strings to get the cast of Friends to come back and do a reunion special. Yeah, I believe it when I see it. Yeah. I mean, some of the cast sounds very willing to talk. I think that it's all about the dollar signs. I think that they're all interested in the sense of, like, they loved working together, but, like, I think they're all weary of, you're not really going to be able to come back. I mean, can they even say they loved working together at this point? Can they even remember that shit? It's been so long. They all still hang out with each other. They're all still really close. Like, yeah, that's one of the few casts that I've seen that's legitimately, they're all there for each other. Get it? I walked right into that one, didn't I? Yeah, you did. Oh. Yeah, you did. Now, every now and then, one or two of these people will come and post something on Twitter or Instagram, and it's just like the news of the day. Like, Jennifer Aniston stood in front of the apartment that was on Friends. Oh my God. You know what that means? It means she was down the street from this apartment and decided to take a picture in front of it. That's what that means. Yeah. But now, yeah, it seems like HBO Max is just pulling up the money truck. Like, yo, get your ass off of Broadway. I'd be curious if they kind of pull a Will and Grace. So that reboot was interesting. They're ending that now, but it was like 3 years. It came back, and they just ignored like 2 seasons. Which I think is hilarious. And the finale. They pulled the Terminator on the motherfucker and just said, yeah, you know what? Those didn't happen. That finale, that ending of Will and Grace wasn't good anyway, so they were better off. Friends was like, they pulled the Prince of Persia. Friends was like, this is the end of an era or whatever, but like, I don't know how they would come back to it. They would have to ignore Joey.
not just Joey. They'd probably have to ignore the last, like, back half of the last season.
I don't know, man. I like how the Seinfeld cast did it. How they just came back.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, for the Curb Your Enthusiasm, where they had that whole season that was centered on the Seinfeld cast doing a reunion.
I thought you. I'm sorry. I thought you liked.
The finale of the show.
In my brain, I thought you liked the finale of Seinfeld, and I'm like, what broken part of your brain liked that shit?
I didn't like it as a finale. I thought it was a decent episode. You know, I didn't hate it.
Yeah. There's no real way to end that show.
Right, exactly.
That's the kind of show you can't really end.
For them, yeah, they're just going to keep living their lives forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they just had to put like a button on it.
It should have just been them hanging out in their apartment. Done. Like, I don't understand why they had to go, like, to the extreme of the jail weirdness. But
right.
Okay.
It was almost like a cautionary thing. Just like, hey, you know, we know you love these characters, but if you model your lives after them, you will end up in prison because they're pretty fucked up people.
Did anyone try to model themselves? Oh, I hope not.
Yeah.
I do love Elaine, though. I just love Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like,
yeah, she was pretty great.
Between that and Veep, I'm like, this is like one of the greatest actresses out there. She was just funny.
She was so underrated while on that show because there were so many other high energy people around her, but she matched that energy and brought her own. And that was so cool.
She was always my favorite. Like,
I saw the episode the other day, and it just took me back. Just the entire premise, just like her finding a mannequin that looked like her and trying to like steal it from the store.
Yeah,
like that shit was great. Like who else would have thought of that shit? That was crazy.
Yeah,
pretty fucking funny. Yeah. So, yeah, it holds up. It holds up.
Oh yeah, I agree. Definitely holds up.
I know we were like debating that a while ago on the show, but yeah, just on further inspection. I've yet to encounter a rerun that I just started watching and it was like, oh yeah, no, this isn't funny. It's like, yeah, okay, so they're a little more like, chauvinistic, that sort of thing.
So was everything. I mean, really, good Lord, just watching some of those Cheers episodes that I was rewatching lately.
Oh yeah.
That show is rape culture university. Like, this is bad for that stuff. But it's still a fun show. Like, I can... if they were airing that today, I'd be like, you know better.
Right.
Back then, I'm like, I don't know. I have a weird thing in my brain where I can kind of compartmentalize that stuff.
I think a lot of folks do, because you look at it as as media of the time or whatever. Yeah. Like, you can't go back and start a writing campaign about something that's already wrapped up and sold millions of box sets and shit like that. Not talking the quality of the media or whatever, just like, if you want to write angry letters about Beverly Hills Cop or Mannequin, you go right ahead, but it's not really doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and waste your time doing that.
Pretty much.
Have fun.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right.
Good times. I still haven't come up with a Seinfeld joke yet. I'm disappointed in myself.
I'm not.
No. So the Supergirl movie thing from last week.
Yeah.
So had you seen all those promo pics that Helen Slater did?
No.
Before that episode? Okay. So one of my favorite things about the Supergirl movie is that much like Mac and Me was just one long McDonald's commercial.
Yeah. Somehow
Supergirl starring Helen Slater became an ad for Popeyes. Because some pretty like heavy moments, some heavy action moments happened in like a Popeyes parking lot, which I just thought was so odd, because Supergirl's not the type of superhero that would eat at a Popeyes. I don't know what it is. Like Popeyes, like, okay, like I'm not like, talking down about them. We love that fucking chicken sandwich. Fucking chicken sandwich. But, just a Popeyes of all restaurants. Chick-fil-A, I could see Supergirl at, I don't know why. I'm not saying that she's, homophobic.
I think you're being a little bit racist here.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we call reverse racism, and it's a real epidemic in this country. Real epidemic.
Like, okay, so, all right.
Let's just... girls have problems, too. Who will think of the blonde girls?
Who will think of the Kryptonians? 1984. They had this Popeyes so prominent in the background that if you search for Supergirl Popeyes, you will find at least 6 different promo images of her just mugging and just cheesing in front of this Popeyes for some reason. And it's not even just like a nice looking Popeyes. It looks like just some bummy ass Popeyes that you would drive by. And the sign, the letters are barely spaced correctly. It just looks so bad. It looks like somebody had a cosplay shoot and just decided to stop for some chicken.
Yeah.
I don't even get it.
I mean, harsh, but harsh,
like,
man.
No, see, but that's how good the cosplay is, because it looks like an official Supergirl outfit, but that Popeyes in the background don't look official at all. It just looks like, hey,
no,
just find a Popeyes.
Supergirl's coming. When you posted it with that picture, I did a double take. I was like, wait a second, Popeyes? Yeah, because I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
I do have those like associations though with certain movies like 7-Eleven and Thor. Like, they're like, oh, we're gonna fight in front of a 7-Eleven now because they paid us to make this $200 million movie.
Or like all the blatant product placement in Wayne's World that they just leaned into.
Oh yeah.
Like that's still my favorite because it's like they're not apologizing.
That and and Snapple on 30 Rock.
Yeah.
When they like they're talking about Snapple, and then Tina Fey turns to the camera and says, "Can we have our money now?" Literally just says, "Can we have our money now?" Okay.
Right. There were like some endeavors by NBC to integrate brands into their shows. Subway, yes, with Community. Community straight up named a character Subway.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. But Chuck I agree, Wayne's World is like the origin of that. And it was so genius.
Yeah.
We will not bow to any sponsor.
I love it. And just anytime you see like a label clearly turned towards the camera on purpose, it's, that product placement is in full effect. But I've never seen anybody go as hard as Popeye's Chicken in Supergirl. They had something to prove, and they were going to do it with Supergirl.
Guess what? Popeyes is still around.
They're still around. Helen Slater is Supergirl, not so much. But Popeye's still kicking.
Yep.
So that's the origin of that picture.
All right.
Wall of Weird, huh?
I was going to say, let's get into the Wall of Weird.
Let's get it.
So, I had two.
What is the Wall of Weird? Why is the wall weird? It's not a real wall, but we call it the Wall of Weird. There's no physical wall here, but we're talking about a wall. I mean, what is the deal? There it is. Okay. Continue.
Okay. There you go. You did it. I put 2 Wall of Weird stories in here, but then I briefly looked at them again. I collected them, end of the week, last week, whatever. And one of them was just too dark. So I'm going to pass on that one. And I'm going to go to the, still dark, but funny one.
I like it.
Okay. This is from Yahoo News. Very reliable source. A man serving life sentence says it ended once he died. Was revived in medical emergency. This is in Des Moines, Iowa.
Holy shit. That was a roller coaster of a headline right there. Let's pick that shit apart. Hold on.
A man convicted of murder was rushed from the Iowa State Penitentiary to a hospital in 2015 where his heart was restarted 5 times. He claims his life sentence was fulfilled by his short-lived death.
Wow.
And he overstayed his prison time by 4 years. Benjamin Schreiber, he was found guilty of first-degree murder in 1997 and was sentenced to life behind bars without the possibility of parole, was hospitalized in March of 2015 after a large kidney stones caused him to develop septic poisoning, according to court records. Did not know that could happen. Now I have a new phobia. Awesome. By the time he arrived at the hospital, he was unconscious, records show. Schreiber had signed a do not resuscitate agreement years earlier. The medical staff called his brother in Texas, who told them if he is in pain, you may give him something to ease his pain, but otherwise you are to let him pass, according to court records. So doctors proceeded to save his life By administering resuscitation fluids through an IV, he underwent surgery to fix the damage done. And he filed for a post-conviction relief in April of 2018, claiming that because he had momentarily died in the hospital, he fulfilled his life sentence and should be freed immediately. He was sentenced to life without parole, but not life plus 1 day, he argued in court, records show.
Wow, dude.
The district court denied his request, writing that his claim was unpersuasive and without merit. This would have been fascinating if they were like, yeah, sure, move forward with it. Let's see what happens. Take it up to the courts. Like, keep going through the courts. But the Iowa Courts of Appeals affirmed the district court decision Wednesday, agreeing that his sentence wasn't up until a medical examiner declared he is deceased. So basically, you gotta be ruled dead. You gotta like come back in the what's it called? Medical examiner, whatever it's called. You gotta come back to life, otherwise you're dead. But I just like this guy was like, I found a loophole. I murdered that person, but you know, no biggie. I died.
No, I died. So, you know, I'm this is second chance, you know? No double jeopardy here. The guy that died was a murderer. I'm not. So let's just keep this party going.
I'm born.
I live again.
Resurrected.
He watched a little bit too much Gargoyles and just thought the spell was broken.
Wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that fascinating. And you hear it and you're kind of like, well? Which, by the way, that was a Seinfeld episode. I died, Jerry. I died. No, but I thought that was really interesting and definitely weird.
Yes.
Obviously, he should never, have that sentence overturned or be freed unless there's some sort of evidence that he didn't do it. The idea that he died on the table and therefore served a life sentence is ridiculous. Even though he was technically dead for a couple minutes, he wasn't like completely dead. He's only half dead.
Only half
there's
dead.
There's full dead and then there's half dead.
If we could somehow put half of him out of jail, then okay, let half of him go.
Yeah.
But no, sorry, dude.
Yep.
Nice try.
Not full dead.
No. I mean, that was a unique attempt at getting out of that conviction. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I give him credit for that.
Yeah.
He then loses all the credit because, he murdered a person. But
the murder, yeah.
The murder's a bit of a problem. But other than that, pretty clever guy.
Yeah.
Under better circumstances, maybe someone entertaining at a party. But, the murder happened.
Yeah, you don't get to go on Leno or Leno equivalent after that.
No. Unless you're OJ.
Yeah. That guy, man, it's amazing he's like in the world still, alive and free.
Twitter? Is he still on Twitter?
I think so.
Yeah.
People drag the fuck out of him on Twitter, which by right they should.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just nuts, man. He's just out and free.
Yeah, he murdered 2 people.
Yeah, that's all. Wrote a book about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm going to catch the killer. Oh,
wink.
God.
Man.
Wink,
so
wink. He's one of those that I kind of hope he submits to have his brain analyzed after he dies. Yeah. Because I have a feeling we'd find that he has all those concussions, like all those injuries.
Sure, from football and everything?
That does not mean that it's okay or anything like that. But like they have shown that if you get a bunch of these head injuries, you become more violent. Like it's a legitimate problem.
Yeah.
Within the NFL, I'd be very curious to see how much brain damage he has. I would bet it's very bad.
No, you're right. I mean, And it doesn't excuse what he did, obviously, but guys like
he was
him,
probably a piece of shit before that, but
yeah. But I mean, what I'm saying is, like, he murdered people, so obviously he's got to pay for his crimes. And even with, like, Chris Benoit and his head injuries and everything like that from wrestling, same thing. It's like, piece of shit, but this is why. This is what led you down this path here.
Right. And this happened. Can we try to prevent at least the head injuries part from happening again,
Exactly. Yeah. They've actually made a lot of strides to prevent that sort of thing from happening, at least in wrestling now. With there was an up-and-comer who was a Yale graduate who decided to get into pro wrestling named Chris Nowinski. Mm-hmm. And he had a very promising career ahead of him. He won one of their Tough Enough tournaments, and he immediately basically just got concussed right away.
Oh, man.
And so instead of just like sulking off into the sunset or whatever and just never hearing from him again, he decided to start looking into concussions and how they really affect wrestlers and football players. And he's done a lot of research and done a lot of studies to prevent that sort of thing from happening again. So much so that even now, in pro wrestling, when they get hit with chairs, they won't allow people to get hit like square in the head with them anymore.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
at the very least. I mean, they're doing all that crazy shit, but they're not just like hitting them on the head with blunt
I know they're trying
anymore.
they've tried to change some, because I've talked to my dad about this. He likes football, and because I was asking him, I'm like, I can't really support football because I don't like this part of it, like this head injuries thing. And
yeah.
He was talking about how they've changed rules about how you can hit and how they're trying to modify the helmets and stuff, but I just don't know, because it's such a high impact sport. I don't know how you would fix that,
Right. What can you do? I mean, it's like the old high school science experiment where you try to drop the egg from a high place and, craft something to prevent it from cracking.
Yeah.
And just busting open.
I would think the only real solution to it as of now would be for it to not be a thing. Like, that sounds bad, but I don't know. I don't know how much of a future football has.
Yeah.
I've had this discussion many times with people, and they disagree with me, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, we keep finding all of this evidence, and it's really bad. Like, bad for you.
Mm-hmm. So. It's amazing, too, because, like, you look at baseball, and the type of helmets they wear when they're in the batter box.
Yeah.
Like, those helmets are getting more and more prominent. It goes down to the ear. Like, at first it was just like, a helmet. Then it started to cover the
helmet,
ear.
And then
there's no helmet. Yeah. Helmet's optional.
Yeah.
And then a helmet, and then the helmet that goes down past the ear, like a sideburn, and now it like goes around the jaw on one side. It's like
because
thing.
they've had guys get injured in the chin and stuff like that, and like stuff. So that part's optional though. The chin part.
Really?
To my knowledge, unless they change the rule and I didn't know about it.
Shoot. It's just,
like,
that's a lot.
It all the way extends down, you're talking about, where it's like, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I see that a lot. So, I mean, at least they're trying, but like you said, it's, it'll be interesting to see if it continues, if that sort of sport. And they're bringing back XFL. It's like, how do you have something that's supposed to be more Smash Mouth and more action oriented, and the rules are supposed to be more lax?
It has to be a cultural shift against, like, our love for violence, and how the hell are we going to do that? I don't know.
Well, as long as UFC's a thing, it's not going to change, because, those guys are basically naked out there fighting. So, no. All weird.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for us, man. Do you have anything you want to add before we go?
No, I don't think so.
Cool.
I think we got pretty much everything covered.
Yeah. I read something today that said there are basically 3 more pay periods between now and Christmas. So do with that what you will, I guess.
What a depressing note to end this on, bud.
I know, right?
You suck. All right. I'm tired.
Me too. let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Folks, thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for checking out this episode of Lex and Matt. You're wonderful. Please subscribe to the Patreon. Anything you do helps us continue to keep this pirate ship afloat.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Follow us on all the social medias. As always, I'm Matt Peters.
And I'm Lex Lutz. Be excellent to each other.
That's right.
Bye.